Hey Sarah, I'm really curious about today's topic. You said we're going to talk about studying less but smarter. What does that even mean?
Hi, David. Great question. When I say study smarter, I mean using your time and energy in a more effective way. It's not about spending 8 hours with your books. It's about studying with focus, clear goals, and the right methods.
Hmm, that sounds interesting. So, are you saying that spending more time doesn't always mean better results?
Exactly. Many students study for hours and still don't do well in exams. Why? Because they are just reading and reading without understanding, without planning, or without reviewing. Smart studying means using techniques that help your brain remember better, like active recall or spaced repetition.
Wow, I've never heard of those before. I usually just read my notes again and again.
You're not alone, David. That's what many students do. But it's not the best way. In this episode, I'll share powerful tips so that students can learn faster, remember more, and still have time to relax.
Okay, I'm ready. So let's dive into those smart techniques. So, Sarah, you said earlier that just reading notes again and again isn't smart. Why not? Isn't that how we memorize?
That's a common belief, David. But reading without engaging your brain is called passive studying. Your eyes are reading, but your brain isn't really working hard to understand or remember. You feel like you're learning, but the information doesn't stay.
I think I know what you mean. Sometimes I study for hours and the next day, I forget everything.
Exactly. That's because passive studying doesn't help your brain create strong memory connections. If you want to study smarter, you need to challenge your brain a little more.
How do we do that?
Use active studying. For example, close your notebook and try to explain the topic in your own words. Or ask yourself questions and try to answer them without looking. That's called active recall. It's very powerful.
Oh, so instead of just reading, I can quiz myself?
Yes, you can also use flashcards or teach the concept to someone else. When you do this, your brain works harder and you remember more in less time.
That sounds smarter for sure. I'm gonna try that during my next revision.
Great idea, David. You'll see a big difference.
Sarah, you mentioned something called spaced repetition. What does that mean exactly?
Good question, David. Spaced repetition is a method where you review information many times, but not all at once. Instead of studying the same thing for hours in one day, you review it several times over a few days or even weeks.
Hmm. So instead of cramming everything before the test, I should review it little by little.
Exactly! Cramming might help you remember for a short time, but you forget quickly after. Spaced repetition helps your brain store the information in long term memory. That's what makes it smarter.
But how do I know when to review? Do I just guess?
Not at all. There are some easy ways to do it. For example, after you learn something new today, review it tomorrow. Then review again after 3 days, then after a week, and so on. The idea is to review before you forget.
So I study today, review it tomorrow, then again after a few days and again later.
Yes, each time you review, your brain remembers better. You don't need to study for hours, just short, focused reviews.
That sounds like it saves a lot of time in the long run.
It really does. And you feel more confident during exams because the information is stronger in your mind.
Is there a way to organize spaced repetition better?
Absolutely. You can use flashcards. And there are apps like Anki or Quizlet that help with spaced repetition. They show you the cards just when your brain needs to review them. It's smart and easy.
Wow. I never knew that. I always thought I had to study for hours to succeed.
No, David. Studying smarter means you can study less and still get better results. With spaced repetition, your brain works better, not harder.
I'm going to try that this week. No more cramming the night before.
That's the spirit.
Sarah, you've told us to focus on understanding and to take breaks. What's next?
Great question, David. The next key is to use active learning techniques. You see, many students just read their notes or highlight their textbooks. But that's passive. It doesn't help your brain deeply process the information.
So, what does active learning look like?
It means doing something with the information. For example, you can summarize what you've just learned in your own words. You can teach the concept to a friend, or even out loud to yourself. You can create flashcards and quiz yourself, or use the Feynman technique, where you try to explain the topic simply as if you were teaching a child.
That sounds more engaging than just rereading.
Exactly. When you interact with the material, your brain forms stronger connections. You'll remember things longer, and you'll understand them better.
Do you think group study can be part of active learning?
Yes, if used correctly. In a group, you can discuss tough topics, explain ideas to each other, and ask questions. But be careful, don't let the group turn into a social hangout. Stay focused.
That's helpful. So, instead of studying for 5 hours passively, it's better to study for 2 hours actively?
Yes, that's the whole point of studying smarter. You do less, but with more intensity and focus.
Sarah, we've talked about a lot today: focus, energy, taking breaks, even using the Pomodoro method. But before we end, what would you say to someone who feels overwhelmed and thinks they have to study 10 hours a day just to succeed?
I would say, take a deep breath. Success is not about how many hours you study. It's about how smartly you use those hours. When you understand how your brain works, and when you respect your body's need for rest, you actually become more productive. Quality always wins over quantity.
That's powerful. What if someone says, I don't feel motivated?
That's a common feeling, and it's okay. Start small. You don't need big motivation to begin. Just tell yourself, I'll study for 15 minutes. Often, once you start, the motivation comes. Also, remind yourself why you're studying. Is it for your future? Your dreams? Your family? Keep that reason close to your heart.
That's great advice. And if they fail an exam?
Failure is not the end. It's feedback. Learn from it. Change your methods. Ask for help. Every successful person has failed many times. What matters is that you keep going.
So if you could summarize everything in one sentence, what would it be?
Sure. Don't study harder, study smarter, rest well, and believe in yourself.
I love that. Any final message for our listeners?
Yes. If you're listening right now, I want you to know you are capable. You can learn anything. Just give yourself time, use smart strategies, and never give up. Progress is better than perfection. Keep going. You've got this.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was inspiring. And thank you to all our listeners. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with a friend and follow us for more great tips. Until next time, stay focused and stay kind to yourself.